Hey guys, welcome back to another video which is long overdue. I am going to be infilling these overlays that I did a couple of weeks ago. The only one that has caused a bit of an issue is my pinky, which is a little bit chipped, but I have used a brand that I've never used before, so it's not a very renowned brand, but lovely, lovely colours. And for me, it's never a bad thing to test and trial out new products to see if they're to your liking. So the first thing I'm going to do is push back my cuticles. Like I said, really love the colours in this collection. If you find colours don't last as long as you want anyway, you can use them for pedicures. They last such a long time, and like I keep saying, these colours are just so nice in this collection. Remember, you don't need to apply too much pressure when pushing back your cuticles, and once you're done with that, you want to go in with your sander, which I have already started to use on this hand. Remember, you want to switch that for every manicure or pedicure. By that I mean just a sanding band, obviously not a brand new e-file for everyone. So what you're doing with your e-file and your sanding band is removing the colour from your old manicure. Or to be even more specific, any polishers. So obviously I've got a clear coat under and over this pink. I have had someone in the past tell me that you should only use the sander side to side as I'm doing here. But as you can see, it's really hard to get the polish off everywhere unless you change your angle going like up and down sidewalls like I'm doing here. I find I end up missing stuff, so this is how I do it. Just like with pushing back your cuticles, you do not need to apply so much pressure. You're going to damage the nail if you just apply an unnecessary pressure. Now, even when your colour is all off, you should be able to see here that there's still product on the nail. So you can see here that there's still clear coat. So you need to make sure the nail looks like how it does here, where there's no product left on bar the acrylic. If you give it a brush and then you can see that it's all consistent, there's no patches anywhere, you know that you've removed all the necessary product. Then you're going to repeat the process for all your nails. Make sure you get around at the cuticle area as well, that bit is hard to get. And like I said, using different angles so that you remove all the product. Again, you can see here that not all the product has been removed, there's still some left, so you want to go back in again. Nice and light until you remove all the product and the nail is all consistent, all one colour. You can see that all of the product has been removed. Much better, all the product removed. Let's keep going. If like me, sometimes you feel like the sanding bit can be a bit dangerous trying to get to the cuticle area here without it hurting or maybe getting a cut even, then do what I do and use this tiny drill piece. Now for around the cuticle area, I know people use the round head piece, but I've always felt this one works better for me. And it's really weird, but I turn it on its side and it works even better on its side. Again, you've got your own way of doing things anyway, so if you find something that works and it doesn't damage your nail, then do it. So all the dead skin around the cuticle area removed. It's looking a lot neater. You can see this nail hasn't really grown much, but I can't complain, it's doing okay. That's all of them done. The cuticles will still look a bit dry until you put cuticle oil on at the end because of all the prep work that you've done. Don't convince yourself that that means you need to keep going and remove the dead skin, because that's the way you get carried away and just end up cutting your skin and getting infections. So just don't go overboard. As time goes on and you're picking up objects and using your hands, your nails will lose their shape a little bit. So I'm just going to sharpen them back up just so they're squarer again. I like my nails really square. Not a lot needs to be done to them. It's only been 2 weeks, but yeah, like I said, they will lose the shape over that time. So just give them a bit of a reshape. I think I'll have to build up this corner a little bit with some acrylic, but I'll show you how when I do that part. This that I'm doing here at this angle actually makes it easy to get the nail really square and straight on the very edge. This growth is now ready to prep. By prep I mean dehydrate and prime and fill. The next step is to dehydrate the area that you are filling in. I am using Glitter Bells as well as the Glitter Bells primer and the acrylic. I haven't used anything else since I've switched to Glitter Bells because, I mean, nothing else that I've found can compete. So ready to prime already, but because I'd normally do the other hand, by the time you've done the other hand it'd be ready, so I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds and then I'm going to go in with my primer. Try not to get it on your skin, but even I know that is near enough impossible. Now, even though I talked about everything Glitter Bells, I am actually using a monomer that isn't Glitter Bells. It's TNBL, and that is because I feel like it does just as good of a job as the Glitter Bells, and it works really well with this system, and it's way more affordable. The acrylic powder, also Glitter Bells, that I'm using is Pinkabell Cover. I either use Pinkabell or Peachabell Cover because they both look really natural on the nail. I always immerse the entire brush into the monomer, flat against the bottom, and then swipe anything I don't need off, because if your brush is full of monomer, you end up picking up really runny beads. I am dipping just the tip of the brush, so I'm angling it up a little bit, and I promise you'll be able to see really clearly on the next nail that I do, because this is a little blurred. But what I do is I put the bead not actually into the gap that needs filling, but just above it, just so I can tap it down into that gap and then swipe up to blend it with the acrylic that's already there, so you haven't got like a ridge. It's nicely blended and it just looks like one smooth nail. So again here I'm placing the acrylic bead above where it actually needs to go, and that's so that I can then tap it down into the gap it needs to go into, and then again, like I said, swipe up to blend it with the rest of the nail, the rest of the acrylic that's already on the nail. Again, like with the primer, it is easy to get onto your skin, and if you make that mistake, just make sure you wet your brush and kind of remove it going around the edge of the cuticle with the tip of the brush, just to remove that from your skin. You don't want it drying on there. Due to demonstrations and leaving acrylic on the brush a bit long, it's not that smooth because the acrylic bead has gone on a little bit drier than it should have, but that's not anything that can't be fixed without a file anyway. You can go over it and buff it. You can see there, can't you, at the very bottom, that it's a little bit out of shape. It's got like a little bump. Like I said, nothing that can't be fixed. This is my attempt at filling in that corner that's not square enough. Remember guys, that I am not a professional. I have never claimed to be. I taught myself. There's a bit of acrylic in my brush, if you can see there. Just make sure you clean that off. Once it keeps sticking to your brush, if you're not cleaning it throughout, it's just going to make the process a lot messier, and it damages your brushes. It ruins them once it gets stuck on there and dries on. And these brushes aren't cheap. I've made the mistake before. Don't be me. So my brush goes in the monomer fully again, and then I wipe off any excess, anything that I don't need. You don't want too much monomer on there, especially if you're trying to pick up small beads. Then you dip the brush in. You don't want it at a 90-degree angle. That would be dipping just the tip in. You wouldn't even pick anything up. So essentially you want to lean the handle towards you, and you'd probably do that even more so if you wanted to pick up a bigger bead, but remember you're picking up a small bead. Notice I dipped the brush in for such a small amount of time. That's because as I'm trying to show you this bead, it will be drying. So if I'd had it in there for a long time and then I'm trying to show you the bead, it would just be too dry to go on the nail. Remember, you want to set the bead down just above the gap so you can tap the product into the gap and then swipe up to smooth it out and blend it with the acrylic that's already there. Like I said earlier, different people find different ways of laying the acrylic, or will doing anything when it comes to nails, but this is just the way I find it easier. So I find my application is neater if I use this method, so that's the reason I'm sharing it with you. Because this nail is not really long, but longer than the others, I'm just building a little bit of an apex, so making the nail a bit thicker and stronger in that area. Notice I hold my brush in there slightly longer. That's because I would like to place this straight on the nail rather than trying to show you and having it dry. So once I'm happy, place my bead straight onto the nail. This is probably the clearest that I've shot, so this one will be good for you to watch. Tiny bit on the skin there that's obviously made it not very neat, so make sure you wet your brush first, like I tried not to. It just makes it a bit easier to clean the acrylic off. Nicely done. When they are dried properly, they just need filing to get them super smooth. Because they're not absolutely bumpy like my first set of acrylics that took me like 2 hours to file down at this stage, you can just go on with a really low setting, nice and light, not applying so much pressure, because you're just trying to get the nails super smooth. And the neater you get your acrylic, the less filing time you have to deal with. Quite similarly to filing off colour, product, gel, whatever you want to call it, I'm changing the angle just so I get every single part of the nail. Obviously the side walls are really hard to get if you're just going across the nail. Getting everywhere means the cuticle as well, so you want to smooth out that cuticle. Make sure there's not such a big ridge between your actual skin and where the acrylic starts on your nail, because that'll look kind of weird. Hopefully my index and middle nails grow enough next time for me to trim down the longer ones and them to be all the same length. It's kind of annoying that they're just all different, but there's no way I'm cutting down the nails that I've took my time to grow, so they just have to catch up. I am happy, so I guess they are ready to paint. Obviously not before a long assessment of the nails. As you can see though from the side, there's an apex built up on this nail, like I was describing as I was doing my ring finger, because they're slightly longer, so they'd break easily if they weren't built up in that area. After giving them a brush, I'm going to go in with my base coat. The purpose of this video was to show you the infill, but I mean, I may as well. Since it's Valentine's Day, I'm doing a Valentine's nail design, so I can show you a little bit of the process. I'm very extreme and I do take my time because there have been times I've missed the cuticle area. So as you can see here, I'm being really extra and pushing the product down to make sure I've covered it all. For my white French tip, I'm using Beetles, which clearly needs a bit of a clean. I have the world's shakiest hand, so God knows how the end result actually looks okay. The best design today is the thumb, which I replicated from a previous design I did, just in a different colour. So stay tuned or skip ahead. I've cleaned my brush in a bit of acetone and then realised that I already got 2 brushes out, but it's a bit too late, so I'm going to continue. I've tried to change the angle because I always get in the way when I'm actually trying to record painting my nails, but I don't know if this has worked out better or worse, but I'm sticking with it for now. For red, I'm using Also by Beatles. I'm using that same collection that I used on the last set of nails because I really love these colours, and I'm using a dotting tool to do my hearts because that is the only way you can do them. I just don't understand how anyone does them with a brush. It's just so much more difficult. This glitter is so pretty. Please do not judge my acrylics on the other hand. It's really hard to do that hand because obviously I'm not left-handed and I have to use my left hand to put the acrylic on my right hand, so yeah, they always look a lot worse. I'm not gonna lie, it was quite tricky to do with the big brush, so I'm gonna go in with a design brush, and that way I can do around the edges anyway because I clearly haven't been able to get to those. Top coat and cuticle oil to finish, and there we have it. I hope this helps you do acrylic infills, and happy Valentine's Day. I'll see you in the next one.